A team of surgeons successfully transplanted a pig's kidney into a human patient with a caveat. Hi there again, I'm Jeff, and you are listening to Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. This is lesson number 416. The producer, JR, has uploaded the full lesson to plainenglish.com/416. A caveat is like a warning or a limitation. So it is true that scientists transplanted a pig's kidney to a human. But as you'll hear in today's lesson, there are several limitations to this groundbreaking procedure. Today's lesson also includes an expression. It's the phrasal verb hook up, and we have a quote of the week too. So let's dive in. In an experimental procedure, a medical team at New York University completed the first successful transplantation of a pig's kidney into a person. The patient was already brain dead, meaning that she had no hope of regaining consciousness. For an unrelated reason, the woman could not be an organ donor, but her family said that she wanted to be of use to medical progress. So, the family agreed to participate in the experiment. Doctors said they had successfully hooked up the pig's kidney to 2 of the patient's blood vessels and monitored the patient's progress. The organ stayed outside the patient's body, but functioned successfully for 54 days, filtering waste from the blood and producing urine. The patient was kept alive on a ventilator the whole time. This was an experimental case that is not yet authorized for use in live human patients. However, if transplants of this type can be perfected and approved for use in humans, it would be a major medical breakthrough. In the U.S. alone, about 90,000 people are waiting for kidney transplants, and only 17,000 are available each year, the majority from deceased donors. Kidney failure is often caused by diabetes, a side effect of obesity, which is becoming more common throughout the world. And so, kidney failure can only be expected to increase as well. Without a transplant, a patient with kidney failure must stay on dialysis, an invasive way to reproduce a kidney's function. In the rich world, that is extremely expensive. In the poor world, it's out of reach, and patients often die waiting for organs. Other patients are waiting for liver, heart, and lung transplants. There's a word for transplanting an animal's organ into a human. That is xenotransplantation, and it has been a dream of scientists for hundreds of years. As early as the 17th century, humans have attempted to use animal parts to replace parts of failing human bodies. In 1984, an American infant born with a deadly heart syndrome received the heart of a baboon. The baby lived for 21 days, far longer than expected. However, many people raised concerns about the ethics of using a primate for its organs. Scientists, however, thought pigs would be better candidates for xenotransplantation. Pigs are already used for food production, so there would be fewer ethical concerns about harvesting organs from them. Why choose pigs, though? Their organs perform similar functions as those of humans, and they are the correct size. A kidney from a cow would be too big, but one from a goat would be too small. What's more, pigs have long been used for smaller medical procedures. Pig heart valves have been used in humans for many years. Skin grafts from pigs have been used to treat severe burns in humans, and a popular blood thinner is made from pig intestines. But there is one problem. The organs from a pig produce an enzyme that the human body would interpret as foreign. Transplant the kidney from an ordinary pig into a human, and the human patient will reject the kidney, meaning that it would not work. However, this was no ordinary pig. The pig used in the transplant was genetically modified so that it would not produce this enzyme. Researchers say that experimental transplants of pig organs may happen in live human patients within the next few years. In the longer term, scientists hope to be able to harvest animal organs without having to raise an animal itself. Every person is born with 2 kidneys, but most of us only need one to function for our whole lives. Most live donors give a kidney to someone they know, but not every donor is a match for the patient. It's also not easy to donate a kidney. There is a little risk to any surgery, and most living donors need a few weeks to recover. Some countries have laws that say every person consents to be an organ donor at death unless they opt out of it. It's called presumed consent. Spain, Croatia, England, France, and the Netherlands have these laws, and all have some of the world's highest rates of kidney transplants. The Netherlands has the highest rate of living donor kidney transplantation in the world. Their government offers donors 3 months of paid leave from work to recover from the surgery. Today's expression is hook up, and it means to connect two things so that they work together in a system. Warning, warning, as with many of the expressions we talk about, this one does have multiple meanings. I promise we will confine ourselves to just this one ordinary meaning. If you want to know the other possible meanings, you can look them up online. Just be careful. Well, when we say this, we often put an object in between the words hook and up. For example, if you're looking to water your flowers, you might hook your hose up to the faucet. In that case, you connect the hose to the faucet so that those two parts work together to help you water the flowers. It's common to use hookup with appliances in your house. Do you have an electric stove or a gas stove? I have gas. It's the only way to go. Well, if you buy a new range, that's a stove and an oven put together. If you buy a new gas range, you'll need to hook it up to the gas line in your kitchen. If you buy a refrigerator that has an ice maker, you'll need to hook your refrigerator up to the water source. In all these cases, you're connecting two things so they work together. If you move to a new apartment, you might need to get your cable or your internet hooked up. That means you need to get connected to the network. In practice, the wires are probably already hooked up when you move in. You just need to activate the service. But if the previous tenant was with a different provider, you may need to get your unit hooked up to the company that you want to use. Well, how did you hear it today? In an experimental procedure, surgeons at New York University Hospital hooked up a pig's kidney to a live human's blood vessels. I am the last person in the world that should be giving a biology lesson, but according to the material that I have read, your kidneys filter waste out of your blood. In this experimental surgery, the surgeons hooked up two of the human's blood vessels to the pig's kidney. So they connected the blood vessels to the pig's kidney so that the patient's body would pump blood into the kidney, and the connection worked successfully for 54 days. Let's reminisce about office life for a second. How many times have you gone into a conference room and struggled to get the projector to work? Countless times I've been in meetings where the projector is on and showing a blue screen. Someone inevitably asks, "Is that thing even hooked up?" The question means, is the projector even connected to anything? Well, a lot of electronics are wireless these days, and we don't usually use hook up to describe a wireless connection. But not everything is wireless. The recording booth here at Plain English World Headquarters is full of cords and cables. You should see what a mess it is. I hook my phone up to the mixer to produce the sound effects, like that. I hook the microphone up to the mixer so, well, you can hear me. I hook up some headphones to the mixer so that I can hear what everything sounds like. And I hook the mixer up to the electronic audio recorder. And all these are connections, and the connections work together to make the system work. Here's a good example. When's the last time you saw a payphone on the street? Years ago, I saw a payphone somewhere. I forget where. And I just laughed. I couldn't believe they still existed. So I picked up the handset to make a call. What I thought would be my last ever call from a payphone. But alas, it wasn't to be because the phone wasn't even hooked up. Willie Garson, the actor who played Stanford in the 1990s show Sex and the City, died recently. I was never a huge fan of that show, but I have seen a lot of episodes just over the years. Stanford always had a clever line on the tip of his tongue. I thought I'd see if I could pick a quote from him, so here's one I like. A New Yorker who does not take the subway is not a New Yorker you can trust. I like that one. A New Yorker who does not take the subway is not a New Yorker you can trust. That is a quote from Willie Garson playing Stanford in Sex and the City. Well, that's all for today's Plain English lesson. You made it through number 416. I made it through another science lesson. And guess what? Coming up on Thursday is yet another science and biology related lesson. On Thursday, we'll talk about a farm with no soil. I'll let you ponder that for a bit. Well, before we go, I wanted to give you a quick reminder that Plain English Plus is a great way to upgrade your English. One of the ways we do that is through live conversation calls, and we're now doing them 3 times a month. They're about an hour each, and you can join as many as you want. We usually have a small group of members who connect to practice talking about a recent lesson topic. We don't always stick to the lesson topic. We see where the conversation takes us. Well, if you sometimes feel nervous speaking in English, it's great to join these calls. You can practice with us in a safe and supportive environment, and then go speak with more confidence in the real world. So, for those of you who are Plain English Plus members, the links to the upcoming calls are on your dashboard. If you're not yet a member, come try us out. We love having brand new members on our live calls. To learn more, just visit plainenglish.com/plus, plainenglish.com/plus.